Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry and it's time for some more Bloodsword. When I put up yesterday's episode I accidentally mislabeled it as book 2. No, it is book 3, we are definitely on the Demon's Claw. And since our heroes are back in the city of Crescentium, I've put them in a nice interior location. I had a look for good sort of Arabian themed battle maps and couldn't find a lot of decent ones. So maybe we'll have to try and avoid some fights in this adventure. And you know what? We don't get experience points for fighting, we get experience points for completing the quest. If we have to fight to complete the quest, we'll do it. If we can avoid fighting, hey, less risk for us to take. Let's see how things go. Last time we left off here at section 419. We had just spent the night in a slum hostel, and the landlord had directed us towards the dwelling of the sage Emeritus of Quadrille, who we have come to see. Already the rising heat and dust of the city are becoming stifling. You are grateful for the cool shade of the entrance hall. A native slave girl comes running up to you and points to the queue of sick people. "These others were here before you," she protests. "Please wait your turn." Oh, that was very oriental, wasn't it? I don't want to get too... "These others were here before you" would be very Indian. So what would a Ta'ashim accent sound like? "These others were here before you," she protests. "Please wait your turn." A thin, sandy-haired man with a benign smile emerges from a curtained vestibule. "Dali is right," he says. "I observe no favourites, and I treat my patients regardless of wealth or station in life." In life? His voice trails off, and you look around to see what he is staring at. It is the blood-sword hilt and scabbard that you carry at all times. The morning sun is shining through the window onto them, causing the jewelled metal to scintillate with 1,000 colours. "The sword of life!" gasps Emeritus. "I thought it had been destroyed long ago." "The blade is still undiscovered," you tell him. He rubs his jaw. "Perhaps I can help." He ushers you into a vestibule and draws a curtain across in front of it, explaining, "There are those who would like to see the blade remain lost. The precaution of talking in private may be unnecessary, but why take chances? Now, tell me what you want to know. Let me tell you what I know." The other patients are incensed by what they see. "What's this special treatment?" you overhear one of them mumbling. "Some of us been waiting here since dawn." And speaking of waiting and time passing, I believe it's time for another 3-point healing roll. Because why not start the session off with one of those? So, Brother Kern sacrifices 3 points of endurance and regains 15. Regains 9. He'll give 3 back to himself, and of the remaining 6, 2 to Sir Alwyn, who had to miss out last time. It's properties, isn't it? Yeah, there we go. 1 to Remy, makes 3. 1 to Ariadne, makes 4. And then the remaining 5 can go to himself, right? Yeah. Wait, no, because he took 3 off already, so 2 more to himself, right? Yeah. So down 3, up 5 to 18. So Brother Kern is now the only party member below full health. "As you may have heard it told," says Emeritus, "in the very earliest days of the world, there was no way for the living and dead to tell one another apart. Between life and death, there was not the absolute line that exists today, but only a kind of inconstant blur. Eventually this became intolerable, so the Archangel Abdiel was sent down to earth and cut apart the place for the living from the place for the dead. He created 2 icons of this parting, 2 great swords of power. One of these, the Sword of Death, remained beneath the earth until brought back from hell by the paladin Ganelon. It is said that he hoped to use it against the very forces of the Dark One, but was corrupted himself by the intensity of its deathly power. And if he didn't say power, that's because my throat's a bit parched. My throat's very dry from drinking so much because of the actual Ultramarian heat we've been experiencing recently. Ganelon's eventual fate is well known, and I need not recount it to you, I am sure. The Sword of Death, often referred to as the Demon's Claw, is now thought to be somewhere in Marazid. The other sword contained within its blade the essence of life. Speaking for myself, this is a concept I cannot grasp, but many warriors have spoken to me of the mystical concept of the sword that is a force for life even as it dispenses death. That is what the Sword of Life, the blood sword, embodies. This sword was broken by Yaunt the Seven-Eyed, a fiend from the frozen desert wastes of Kraf. I thought only the fragments had been destroyed, or I thought even the fragments had been destroyed or lost forever, but it seems that is not the case. Was the blood sword created to destroy the last of the true Magi, you ask Emeritus? Not originally. Not according to the version of the myth that I have just recounted, but remember that truth has more than one shape and speaks with more than one tongue. If we stand in a river, it is one fed by many tributaries. Some would claim that it was indeed for the express purpose of slaying the true Magi that the sword was forged. It will certainly be able to accomplish that, as Blue Moon and his ilk are of the undead. I mean this not in the trite sense that adventurers use the term when they speak of clattering skeletons and shambling zombies as undead. Some great entities linger in the world without tasting death, and their undeath is a kind of apotheosis. This applies to Hieroweird, the outcast, Valandar of ancient Elesland, the god-king Imref Karid, vampiric Lord Abraxas, and other figures of myth. The last true Magi belong to this category, and the blood sword will sever their link with our reality and send them into the void. Now, if you seek the final part of the blood sword, I can only suggest that you go to see a man called Susurian. He is an Opalarian prince, but is now exiled from the Ta'ashim lands, and with good reason from what I hear. He is as sinister as a snake. However, he is known to desire the Sword of Death for himself, and hence he may be able to give you some information about the Sword of Life. The two are inextricably linked. And we have this picture of a monster from Book 1, which doesn't really serve any purpose here as filler art. It doesn't really relate to the story. I think the publishing company had just paid for monster art and decided to use it again. So far, we're getting a lot of lore, we're learning a lot of story and history. And it does make the world feel very alive. If any player wishes to buy equipment, Emeritus can send his servants out shopping for you. Yes, we probably should ask him to do that. We don't know where our journey will take us. You can obtain the following items if you have the money to pay for them. If you are genuinely destitute, with an average of no more than 3 gold pieces per player, Emeritus will make you a gift of 12 gold pieces. These must be divided equally among all players. We can purchase armour, starting armour for any class, a quarterstaff, sword, bow, a quiver of 6 arrows, or rations for a week at 2 gold pieces each. I think everyone should get 2 weeks of rations. We don't want it to be like book 1. So that is 4 gold pieces for everyone. Yes, it's possessive, that is correct. Wait, is it? It doesn't belong to the day. I'll check that one in between sessions. I think the apostrophe is correct. Anyway. We will supply everyone with, yeah, 7 days rations. Daisies. Let's see. I'll work it out at some point in between sessions, don't worry. Everyone will... Oh! Okay, Brother Kern will pay for the food. But he will not carry it. You know what? Remy's not going to carry it either. We'll just have Sir Alwyn carry 4 weeks there. And then Ariadne will... Yep. At some point we will have to part with some of our formerly gained items, but not just yet. Once you have given Emeritus's servants the money to make any purchases you need, record the items and turn to 186. Sure, we'll do that. And since we're going to have to wait for them to go and do shopping for us, Brother Kern will make a 2-point healing roll. Spends 2 points, gets 2 back. No progress so far. You make ready to set off at once. I'm sorry you cannot stay longer, says Emeritus as he shakes hands with you, but obviously your quest must take precedence. Hopefully we will meet again one day, you reply. Many thanks for your hospitality and the help you have given. You also give a courteous half-bow towards the beautiful Ta'ashim girl, Dali, who met you when you first arrived, and the attentive service of your slave deserves praise too. Emeritus laughs. There are no slaves in this house. Dali is my wife. You're a little shocked at this. Respectable Kyradians should not, in most people's opinion, mingle intimately with the natives. Nonetheless, you manage to keep your sentiments to yourself, and bowing deeply, you take your leave of them. This is interesting, right? It helps to show... I mean, yes, it does make our heroes look a bit daft. But it also goes to show they're from a different culture. This is a foreign land. Things are different here. And they're like, oh, what's this? Oh, okay. Sosurian lives on the far side of the city. It is still early in the day and you are not unduly hurried. As you pass the bazaar, you happen to glance down an alley where you see a veiled Ta'ashim woman being molested by 2 Fool-under merchants. Now, Fool is the name the Greeks gave to the lands... Was it the Greeks called Albion Fool when they first encountered it? A name which translates as roughly the place where it's so cold that you turn round and go back. We should interfere. Look, we've just had a beautiful situation learning that a Kyradian is wed to a local Ta'ashim girl, and now we see another Ta'ashim woman being bothered by 2 foreigners. Well, that's not right. Our 2 cultures should get along. And the Fool-unders are basically Vikings, right? I mean, look at them, look at the pictures. I mean, they could be Anglo-Saxon. we should absolutely get involved. Also, we've got a warrior, and it would be maybe dishonourable to pass by without offering some assistance. The Foolander's turn as you approach, but one still holds the woman in a brutish grip.
"What is this interruption?" he snarls at you. "Can't a couple of guys that are new in town have a bit of fun, eh?"
"Not at somebody else's expense," you thunder. "Unhand this lady at once. Tarashim or not, she deserves better to be than to be manhandled by two fatherless rodents like you." They didn't like that. You can see you have a fight on your hands now. Well, in that case, let's try for that 2-point healing roll again, just in case we get it. Yeah, another 3. Fine. Okay. The Foolanders wear great axes across their backs, but in the confines of the narrow alley they choose instead to draw the short swords that hang at their belts.
"You're just diced meat now," says one nastily. "Hrothgar's telling it like it is," says the other, nodding.
They advance. Well, I'll go make up a map, and we'll prepare for a fight. So here we have our alleyway in Crescentium. There's a few doors that shouldn't be there, but that's because I'm using part of a larger map to create this. I had a really hard time finding good Arabian-looking battle maps. Loads of great Egyptian ones. Arabian, not quite so much. Probably have to look at some Pathfinder adventure paths. See, there's one of the early ones is set in Qadira, isn't it? But it might not have very good quality maps. Anyway, here we have our heroes and our two burly-looking Foolanders, who look very large indeed, with their tokens zoomed in very closely on their faces to hide the fact that they're dwarfs and to make them look like big, nasty monsters. Well, foes who are going to wreck us. I mean, they do have 30 endurance and hit for 2d6 plus 1 damage, which, in all fairness, is the same as Sir Alwyn, although he has more skill with it and class. In terms of ability scores, they're actually not dissimilar to the warrior either, being almost identical. Right, and as far as the initiative goes, it's Remy first, then everyone who's not Ariadne, then she gets a go. Let's get on with it. It's a fight in an alleyway. It's short, brutal, undignified, with not a lot of room to swing. Speaking of swinging, Remy's got his enchanted sword, Blutgetranker, which I believe may be Mercanian or Foolander in origin. Let's go make an attack. Why not? That's a hit for 1d6 plus 2 damage. The Foolanders may be large, but they are not giants. There we go, a whole 4 points. At least they don't have any armour. Obviously, they stripped off their armour and their warmer clothing, which they would wear back home, which is why they're not wearing very much in these parts. Well, this Foolanders, we don't know which one of them is Hrothgar. The other one doesn't have a name, so this one's just going to attack Remy because he can. That's a total miss. This one will attack Sir Alwyn, who's also attacking, so we'll have the Foolander attack first. Not a total miss. 9 points of damage to his 3 points of armour. Now, we could have given him the shielding charm beforehand, but we did not do so. Sir Alwyn will strike back, attempting to return the favour. That is unfortunate. He's hampered by the narrow confines of the alley and cannot bring the axe of Heraclos to bear upon his foes. I should point out that we have to drop them in 2 rounds, which is very tricky with their high endurance rating, or something will happen. Perhaps a bunch of their mates will come looking for them to see what all the noise is about, or something else. Brother Kern could fire an arrow here. And it's probably not the worst idea, to be honest. Yeah, go for it. We'll shoot an arrow. At this one. That is not a magical bow, I'm afraid. So his arrow has gone wide in the narrow confines of the alley. Hopefully it's not a threat to the Tartar Shim woman, who is not on the battle map. We've had Sir Elwyn attack. Ariadne will prepare... we'll go for a sword thrust. It's been a good old reliable spell so far. Why not? There we go. Excellent. And now we're on to round 2. Well, Remy's just going to attack again, because he can. Excellent. 8 points of damage in here. Okay, this fellow's looking somewhat the worse for wear now. He's going to try and cleave Remy in half with his short sword. Look, it's not a battle axe, but he's going to try and use it as a great vicious chopping weapon. Because why would he not? 8. I forgot to add the 1 for Remy's hard target dodging technique. So that's actually a miss. Which means when I roll for this other Foolander attacking our warrior, that actually will miss as well. Let's have Sir Alwyn fight back. He's got a magic axe. He's got to hit at some point. Now apparently is some point. Excellent. And in all fairness, these mighty Foolanders in the narrow confines of the alley with their short-bladed swords are hitting as hard as our warrior with a magical axe. A legendary magical axe. So these fellows hit hard. Brother Kern will not waste another arrow, and Ariadne will attempt to unleash her spell on this Foolander, because it could be particularly dangerous. 2d6 plus 2 gets us 4 plus 2 is 6. That is a success. The magical power of the spell is unleashed upon the crude barbarian. And he will suffer 3d6 plus 3 damage. 13 points of his 18 remaining lowers him to 5 endurance points. And we are at the end of round 2. So something is happening. If you haven't played this book, you might not know what something will be, but it takes me a little while to scroll up and down these pages. There comes a sudden flash of light against which you have to shield your eyes. The alley is filled with the stench of sulphur. When your vision has cleared, there is no sign of the Foolanders. Their weapons lie scattered at your feet. The Tartashim woman they had accosted is standing a few paces away. You sense a smile under her veil. She holds up 2 grey rats by the tails, and you see she has just cut their throats with a curved silver knife. Fatherless they may have been, she says with a light musical laugh. Rodents, certainly. And with that, Brother Kern's going to try a 2-point healing roll, because why not? Spends 2 points, gets 8 points back. He'll give those 2 points to himself. He'll give 2 more to himself. And 4 to Sir Alwyn, taking him up to 22, with the other 2 being on full health. Excellent. It is most kind of you to take the trouble to help me, says the woman in exotically accented Bio-Lang. There's no way that's going to be Bo-Lang, is it? That would just sound rubbish. Let's give her a bit of an accent then. It was most kind of you to take the trouble to help me, says the woman in exotically accented Bio-Lang. She steps forward, and you notice the heady scent of jasmine that pervades her long robes. She presses a large silver key on you. "This unlocks the secret doors into my garden," she says. "There are many ways there, all over the Ta'ashim world. These words may seem puzzling to you now, but if you are in need of a place to hide, then an ape will guide you to the scented garden of Fatima. Go with God." She bows and slips past you, silent as silk. Record Fatima's silver key on your character sheet if you intend to keep it. You can also take the Fulander's battle axe and short swords if you wish, if we were missing weapons. Leaving the alley, you find no sign of Fatima. Shrugging, you continue on your way to meet the mysterious Prince Suzurian, who can carry a... Oh! Ariadne shall carry Fatima's silver key. Now, Remy's probably going to want it, because it's silver, and it's a key, which means it unlocks something. And since she has thanked us and given us the key, and we're in a new section, we'll try another 2-point healing roll. Not as successful. We will spend 2 points, give 1 point back to Brother Kern, and 1 point back to Sir Alwyn. And resume our party marching order. This will do for now, but we may alter it in the future. You have been told that Suzurian lives in a room above a butcher's shop. You enter and look towards a stone slab where a bearded giant of a man is dismembering a carcass. His cleaver strikes the raw flesh with remorseless thwacks. As he sees you, his eyes betray no emotion, but the cleaver slips, striking the stone of the slab and giving a metallic shriek. The bearded man glowers at his chipped cleaver, then nods towards the stairs. Still no word has been spoken. You pass him and begin to ascend. After a few moments, you hear him starting to hack at the meat on the slab once more. And with that, upon the stairs, we'll try another 2-point healing roll. We're going to get this back... No, we're not. The winds of fate are not kind to us. 283. It's okay. As long as we're cautious and don't take too many unnecessary risks, we should be on full health by the next fight. The room you enter is plain. A man sits in a wooden chair by the window, drawing occasionally at a tall hookah that stands beside him. The odour of incense masks the charnel stench from the butcher's shop below. Prince Suzurian turns. His robes rustle, a crisp, silken sound. His chair creaks as he shifts his body to half face you. A limpid red gem glowers like a third eye at the centre of his gold turban. His jewellery and gilt-decorated tunic glitter as they catch the shaft of morning sunlight. His stare is intense and unnerving. With his suavely handsome face, he looks like a man capable of great passion and cruelty. Then he gestures to the cushions piled against the wall and bids you sit. Sharp white teeth flash as he smiles. You crouch down on the cushions, but your muscles remain tense. The sunlight passing through the wooden lattice across one window and through the dusty air casts a host of narrow bright beams across your face. They all appear to radiate from the exiled prince. The spider's web, you think, with a wry smile? I knew you would come. Oh, soft and deep. Okay, no. I knew you would come, he says. His voice is soft and deep, suggesting the quietest beat of an enormous drum. You seek the sword of life, I the sword of death. By uniting, we shall achieve what we desire. You don't pretend to like the idea, but there is no alternative. You nod. I have here the Hatuli, literally the bring hither. He holds up a mannequin that looks as if it has been carved from diseased wood. It was constructed by the great wizard Sa'ak Nafur, and my agents found it for me in the ruins of his fortress. If it were operative, I could find the magical swords for us, but it is not. He sets the mannequin on the floor by his chair, where it waits lifeless. Its eyes are missing, continues Sosurian. They were 2 tiny emeralds of flawless beauty, and I believe they were prized from the Hatuli's head by Hunguk, the pirate king, when he sacked the fortress. So your quest will involve stealing them back from Hunguk. You can see a difficulty here. Hunguk, the pirate king, if he ever lived, must have been dead for 500 years. And with that shocking discovery, we're going to attempt another 2-point healing roll. Spent 2, got 8 back. Well, that covers our 5 here and 6. 2 points left over. Everyone's on full. There we go. Sosurian only smiles when you point this out. No, he is not truly dead, and not truly alive. Hunguk was too great a man for this world. We are in the last days now, and those who are born and walk the world's face are timid things, compared with those mighty heroes of times past. Like King Valandar, Lord Abraxas, Imref Carid, you add, remembering Emeritus's words. Just so. I have heard it said by the scholars of your faith that Hunguk forfeited his soul for the bloody rapine he committed. They say he is doomed to roam the world till the hour of all's ending. I prefer to think he is too great a man for heaven or hell. He has sailed the only course he could, into myth. Many have claimed to see his ship, the Devil's Runner, bearing down on them from fog or storm. Not all can be liars. Sosurian allows a few moments of silence for you to take this in, then reaches for a parchment. I have prepared this astrological projection to show when and where the Devil's Runner will next appear on the earthly plane. It is a point some 60 miles offshore in the Gulf of Marazid, and 2 days from now. From my planisphere, I know that the swords of life and death are located somewhere in the city of Hakbad. Once you have recovered the emeralds, go there and seek me at the house of the Desert Breeze. He turns away. The audience is at an end. Have you any suggestions on how to get there, you ask, rolling the parchment and putting it among your other belongings before heading for the door. No, says Prince Sosurian. That is your problem. So we have Prince Sosurian's astrological projection. Who has... Oh! You know what's going to happen here, don't you? Now, we're not overtly told that this is an item we should pick up. But we're going to do it anyway, just in case. I think it's not an inventory item, but we may be told in the next section. So Ariadne will take Prince Sosurian's astrological projection because Remy really wants to hold Fatima's silver key, because it's made of precious metal, and because keys unlock things, which he can steal. The butcher falls silent and watches you leave. You make your way from Sosurian's home in a daze. Outside, the crowds flow around you like eddies on a vast sea. You glance back to see Susurian looking down from his window with a slight smile. Perhaps you were foolish to have agreed to obtain the emerald eyes for him, but what choice was there? Without his astrology, you could never have hoped to find Hunguk's ship. Even if you stole the Hatuli, you have no idea how it operates. Loathsome though it is, you are forced by fate to cooperate with the untrustworthy prince. There is a Ta'ashim proverb. When both are hungry for the flesh of the gazelle, even the lion and the serpent will lie in ambush together. Your wandering brings you to the outskirts of the city proper. Seeing a fishing village in the distance, you head towards it with a view to hiring a small boat. You soon find the village is further than you thought, for you are forced to take a meandering path between a number of low, sealed stone buildings. The time is now mid-afternoon, and dry dust rises chokingly from the road. As you turn a bend, you come across a man sitting by the roadside drinking from a gourd. He looks up and smiles, greeting you with the words, "We must swelter in the sun while those who lie in these sepulchres are cool, but they must endure their parched throats, as this wine is only for the living." He holds up the gourd. "Will you join me?" Well, that's a tempting offer, and one I think we will make a decision upon in the very next episode, because I reckon I've played for long enough, and I'm going to leave this one here. I hope you've all enjoyed this episode, and I will look forward to meeting you all once again in the very next one. I'll say goodbye for now, and see you all soon. Cheerio, everyone.